This is how you create leverage. This is how you create time leverage. This is so important as new entrepreneurs. This is how you will grow and scale. If you're watching this video, it means that you're ready for a really big, exciting chapter in your business journey. You are ready to hire your first employee. And let me tell you, even if you don't feel ready, you actually are. In this video, I'm going to break down and show you not just when you should hire your first employee, but how to do it even if you feel like you're broke. I built a team of up to 25 employees. Now it's a little bit less because I learned that more is not always better. So now we have a team of about 8. And what I want to do in this video is give you an idea of how to hire, where to hire, who to hire, and how to make it really seamless so that you are profitable and you're actually making more money by hiring your first employee. Let's get into it. By the way, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We make 3 very high quality videos per week showing you everything that I've learned about building a 7-figure company. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Okay, so I just want to talk about the elephant in the room first, okay? There's a big elephant in the room, which is hiring your first employee can feel really overwhelming. It can feel really expensive and really outside your comfort zone, especially if you've never done it before. You might feel like you don't have the money for it or your business isn't ready for it. But what I want to do is walk you through how I hired my first employee, even though I was broke. I hired my first employee before my business was really making much money at all. I was pretty broke and I was inconsistent, which is another thing that a lot of people think is like, oh, my income isn't consistent yet, so I can't afford an employee. I have to wait till I get consistent income. But that's the cart before the horse. You need the employee and then you'll start to make more and more consistent income. Before we go any further though, what I wanna do is I wanna define the word employee because I'm using the word employee, but really I mean team member. Like if you're in the US, this would be the difference between a 1099, an independent contractor, and a W-2 employee. So essentially this is not an employee. I use the term loosely because it makes more sense for like a YouTube video, but I don't mean an employee in the W-2 sense, in the full-time with benefits, all of that. I mean a part-time independent contractor. So questions, right? How did I hire my first employee, first helper? How much did I pay for the help? What did she help me with? How did I find her? I'm going to break that all down for you now. First hire was a virtual assistant. And I hired her way before I could afford it, okay? I highly recommend starting with a virtual employee because she's able to help take things off your plate. They're gonna be able to help you, you focus on higher level things in your business like sales and marketing. And so what I did is I hired her to help me with one project and I found her from a Facebook group. And I recommend doing that. Don't start by saying, okay, I'm going to hire you and you're going to work for me 40 hours every single week for 4 weeks in a row. Start with one project. So it was one little simple project. I think I paid her like $100, maybe $200 for that first simple project. And that was it. And she was awesome. I wanted to bring her on a little bit more. So I paid her $100 per week for a few hours a week. And that was it. Even that $100 a week though, it felt like a ton for me with where I was at in my business and really because I was nowhere and I didn't really have the money for it. So what my husband and I did is we dug deep and we really sacrificed. So we cut everything. We canceled everything except my coaching membership. I was in a coaching membership, kind of like the Get Clients Now program. And I canceled everything except that coaching membership. So I'm talking Netflix. We didn't eat out. We had to find $400 in our personal life. And so we had to cut all kinds of things. With your first employee, with your first team member, typically they're not coming, like it's not like the business has enough money to pay them. You have to pay them out of your own personal life, which can be difficult. It can be really tricky. For me, it was like I started seeing even more growth once I had the assistant. So I'm scared that if I waited until my business was ready, that never would have happened. I would have always been stuck because I was one person. So here's the math on this, right? Let's say that you pay somebody, let's just say $15 an hour, and they're helping you with admin stuff, right? Things like replying to emails, things like helping people switch out their billing information. Now, let's say that in that time frame, you spent 3 hours on marketing and you landed a client, or you spent 3 hours on marketing, you got one step closer to landing clients. So let's be really conservative here and say that the work you are spending your time doing, marketing and sales, you'd have to pay somebody $30 an hour to do. Well, you essentially just made $15 an hour. Because all of a sudden your time, this is how you create leverage. This is how you create time leverage. This is so important as new entrepreneurs. This is how you will grow and scale. Trust me, I've not only scaled my business, but I've helped hundreds of businesses scale. This is how you scale. We just created $15 an hour sort of out of thin air because you're not doing these tasks anymore. So how do you know what to outsource? How do you know you're outsourcing the right things? A couple things I want to point out to you here. Number one, I would have you start by tracking everything you're spending your time on in the business as it relates to the business. And let me tell you, I promise you, you're scrolling Facebook too much. I promise you, you're on Instagram too much. I promise you. And that scrolling Instagram is a $0 an hour task. So if you're spending, something that's a $0 task and you're paying somebody $15 an hour, well, yeah, now you're screwed. So if I can be frank with you, like my notes literally say, you are probably wasting a lot of time. And I've worked with enough business owners to know that that's the case. You're probably wasting a lot of time. So start getting really honest with yourself about where your time is going. That's the first step. Second thing you want to ask yourself is what tasks are bringing me $0? Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to rate your tasks in order of most valuable to least valuable. So, or least valuable to most valuable. So if we pretend that these are our tasks, let's say you're spending 15 minutes per day in your inbox, you're spending 2 hours a day doing sales and marketing. Green is good. I'm allowed to do green. So let's say you have 2 green things. These are things you should be doing every day. Hint, it's either stuff directly with your client or it's sales and marketing. And really it should be sales and marketing. Then you've got your blues where they're kind of like, okay, they're kind of valuable. That could be like getting more email addresses on your list, doing things that are just longer term where you're going to see a payout from it eventually, but not immediately. The green ones are like immediate cash, right? Like cash, cash, cash. And then there's your oranges. Oranges are like, okay, like it kind of needs to be done, but it's not really making me a ton of cash. It's sort of like it has to be done. And then your reds are nobody should be doing them. We should totally stop doing them. I need to get off Facebook and Instagram. Oh my goodness, right? So then what you're going to do is you're just going to organize your tasks from least valuable to most valuable. So what I would do is just start moving them. So now what we've done here is we've created things that are going to be completely eliminated because nobody should be doing them in the business. This is where you're going to start to outsource. You start here. And you start with maybe 4 hours a week, right? 4 hours a week spending time on these tasks. You should be first and foremost always spending your time on these tasks. These are the most important things that you should be spending your time on. And then if there's extra time, do these. Then eventually you'll have enough money to outsource these tasks, the blue ones. And then eventually you get to the point where you outsource the green tasks and you're kind of overseeing everything. And then you get to the point where I am, where a general manager oversees everything and you're sort of building the business out long-term. You're doing a lot of other CEO things. But for right now, to circle back to your very next step, your immediate, you need to identify what do I completely cut out so you don't waste your time. So we don't want you to end up in this scenario where you're wasting time and paying the $50 an hour. That's a nightmare. So then you say, okay, we're going to eliminate these tasks. This right here is what you outsource first. So I gave an example. Least valuable, creating graphics in Canva. Most valuable, doing a sales call. So if this is Canva, pay somebody to do stuff in Canva, you have sales calls because that's going to make you money immediately. So I'm curious to know in the comments, let me know, have you hired your first employee? And if so, what role are they? What do they do on your team? I'm super curious to know if you've hired your first person. What was it like? And if you have any tips that you would like to add, be sure to share that in the chat for people who are watching who haven't hired their first team member. By the way, if you want to get a couple more clients to help pay for that first employee, you should totally come to this workshop that I'm doing. In this workshop, what I do is I show you how in my business, I went from struggling to sign on a couple clients a month to signing 70 clients or more every single month. And I've had people come to this workshop and literally make $5,000 or more just from this workshop alone. They send me messages afterwards and it's really helpful. So if you want to make some more cash so that you can hire that first employee, I'd highly recommend you go to that. It's completely free. My gift to you, just go to mariawendt.com/workshop to save your seat, or you can click the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you found this video helpful. Give it a like if you liked it and want to see more videos like this. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.